Hi there. A lot of you may have seen my studio where I work on the YouTube channel or on the fan page. But that's not all that there is. This room is, I call it the book room. Sometimes I call it the library. I don't call it a meditation room, but in a way that's what it is. I find that it's integral to what I do, especially with the internet. So when I come in here, when I take a break, which I do every day at some point, sometimes several times, I'll come in here and there is no internet, and there's no phone, there's no screen, nothing. Lots and lots of books, which I'll show you guys in a minute. The books cover a lot of different subjects. Of course, a lot of it is art, but a lot of it is literature, a lot of it is history, technical things, craft, all sorts of things, music, geography, you name it, basically every subject. It's a huge library. And I've had many libraries in the past. I had a big one in New Mexico, which which I sold off to book dealers when we went to Europe for a while. But at any rate, my feeling is that we live in time, and so we have the present moment, we have the future, and then we have the past. And of course, a lot of people are caught up in worrying about the future or dwelling on the past. When I'm in here, yes, there is the past, the history, the books. A lot of that is historical. It is the past. But then again, I'm very in the present while I'm in here. I do meditate in here sometimes, but then also the future. There's a lot of books in here on futurism, technology in the future, and things like that. So in a way, it's sort of like a time capsule where there is the past, there is the future, there is the present, and it gives a space outside everything to contemplate what's going on in the world, in my own life, and the lives of people around me, and things like that. So in a way, it's like, I don't know, going back a few centuries or going forward a few centuries, I don't know. But basically, I think that what happens in the modern world is that people just get dragged along, and they don't necessarily make a decision. They just do it because everyone else is doing it. So the child has the phone now. And, oh, well, we just jump right in there because, well, heck, that's where we are and that's what everyone is doing. And I personally think that a lot of solutions, potential solutions for problems that we have as a race on Earth, would be to not blindly just jump forward into every new thing that comes along, and also not discard things from the past. So people laugh about horse-drawn carriages, and horse-drawn carriages might be a solution for something. Small villages might be a solution for something. Small farms instead of industrial factory farms are a solution to something. And all these things that we've had, and pardon me if it sounds like I'm lecturing a little bit, I don't really talk about this much, but we have a whole history of things going back in time which worked well, and which have been discarded for no good reason other than something more, oftentimes more profitable, has simply taken its place. So I'll leave that here for now. This is the library, the book room, or meditation room, and I'll show you some of the books next. This is a little stack of books which is just laying here. I've been looking at it. I haven't reshelved them yet. Ronald Searle, the great English cartoonist. This is Penguin edition. This is an English of his books. We've had, what was his name? The American comic artist who was influenced by him. His name slips my mind. Bill Sienkiewicz. Now, who's heard of this? It's a European book, wonderful statuary. Very, very inspiring stuff for me. What else have we got? Another Ronald Searle book. Lauren Isley, naturalist and poet. Very profound stuff. I actually have a bunch of books by him. This is the Lauren Isley section right here. So even though I may write and draw dumb comic books, I have all this other stuff going on as well. And who's ever heard of Lauren Isley? You know, what's been turned into a movie? Well, nothing. That's not really what it's about. So whatever, you know, so Charles Darwin, one of my wife's idols. Ronan Martin's Laughing, old illustrated children's books, books on art. This is an interesting book here. This is History, Story of Man. It's a history book. And it's quite incredible, the etchings that are in here. This book is from 1878. It's still holding together because it's on rag paper, not pulp paper. So that's pretty interesting. Maybe if you guys are interested, I'll show you some of that later. There's some fold-out illustrations in there that'll blow your mind. Witch hunts and things like that. History books, literature, paranormal, holographic universe. It's a shame he died. Michael Talbot, that's quite an astonishing book. And I've read most of this stuff in here. Judith Viorst, really funny stuff. Lewis Carroll, stuff on various psychotherapies. Actress, that's the Yvonne Mitchell biography. Who has ever heard of her? Well, she's an English actress. Nikola Tesla, I read that about a month ago. That was astonishing. Cartooning, a book on fame, how the mechanics of fame, fame junkies, power versus force. My wife read that one and basically told me the best bits from it. Rig Veda, Nightmare in Detroit. That's a book about the Detroit riots. I read that and my God, it really stayed with me. Absolutely horrible. Black people dying in large numbers. Mr. Rogers Talks with Parents. Mr. Rogers is a Christ-like figure these days, and with good reason. Furthermore, over 16. Gee, should that be next to Mr. Rogers? Well, it is. Various cartoons, Weird Florida, fairies, book of movie lists. So anyway, there's more, and there's more, and there's more. And if anyone's interested, I'll save some of this for later. And talk about some more. As I said, I've read most of these books, very familiar with most of them, and it's my education. I didn't go to college. Actually, I took a stab at going to college twice. It didn't work. Different reasons. But anyway, glad you're here. See you next month.